Welcome to Not Advised, the fantasy football podcast not based on research. So if you lose, don't blame us. But if you win, we're definitely taking credit.
Hey guys, welcome back to the best version of the Not Advised podcast. I am your host with the most. I'm CJ, and we've come to the conclusion of the college football season.
So sad. My name is JD, and I'm here to not mourn in my sorrows.
I'm Raymond, and I am here to eat crow and be very sad, especially after the news today.
Well, Raymond, let's talk about it. What news happens today? Fill us in. What's going on with you? How you feeling?
Fine. If you had told me at the beginning of the year we'd be the second best team in the country and lose in the national championship, that's a great year. It's just getting that close. I've never been that close to a football championship with one of my teams.
Let's back up a little bit now that we know the ending coming into the game. How did you feel when the game started? It was a low-scoring game for basically the whole first half. What did you think about Miami's offense or first, like the play script they call the first 10 plays, 15 plays, whatever it may be?
First half was definitely lackluster. We didn't, on offense at least, just terrible play calling. Bunch of 3-and-outs. Should have hit that field goal at the end of the game. I don't agree with kicking that field goal, first of all, but it is what it is. I'm overall very happy with the way the team performed, I think. I've got a hot take there. I think the Hurricanes were the better team on the field.
Ooh, thoughts on that, JD?
I mean, maybe from a X's and O's point of view, better team, but they definitely did not have what they needed when they needed it. Like, they could have been the team. Like, they were set up to be the team to have one more play than the others, but it was like one bad mistake at the worst possible time sealed their fate. And it's like, and I wouldn't even say that one particular play really sealed their fate, because they could have had, like, if they had just not had the punt blocked, you're talking about a totally different game.
I mean,
Like, because that was a huge
different
momentum
game.
swing, because up until that point, like in our group chat, I was like, I felt like Miami had so much momentum in all aspects of the game. But then when that happened, it just kind of like flipped the script, and it was just that gave them one step to stay ahead. And then Indiana made a few mistakes after that, but they were so far ahead, it kind of didn't matter. And that's what gave them a little bit of breathing room.
The way I look at it is, I had a lot of time to reflect on this. I was in the sauna this morning, just meditating.
Of course.
Offensively, I think Miami played a better game than Indiana. Offensively, I think Miami played a better game than Indiana. Special teams, I think Indiana obviously kicked our butts there. And coaching, I think Signetti coached circles around Mario Cristobal this game, going for it on those fourth downs, and then Cristobal not going for it, instead opting to kick the field goal at the end of the half. Like, that's just a coward move. Like, that kicker has been shaky all playoffs, and it was like 4th and 2, maybe 3. Like, in that range,
How
just
far
go
was that
for
field
it.
goal?
50 yards.
Yeah.
Like, that's, unless you have like an elite kicker, like, I'm not going for that. Like, he's already donked a couple in the playoffs.
At what point? What point of the game did they kick that field goal again?
It was the
How
first
far?
half.
Yeah, it was the first half. They were up. The Indiana was up 10-0, so they're just trying to get points on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, it was second
And,
quarter.
Yeah, 50
Was it
yards.
late?
It
Yeah,
was later in the second
there was
quarter.
like 40 seconds left to go in the first half.
Yeah, it was going into halftime. You make the first down, you saw plenty of time left. You get the first down, you're going for the score.
Right. Meanwhile, they already went for it on fourth down on their own, like 40, 45-yard line. I don't remember.
On
which
that
one.
same drive?
On the same drive. Whenever we got to the fourth down, he let the time expire and called a timeout. So he's running the clock down. So there's plenty of time left.
Yeah. That's tough.
I believe in calling the timeout right there at the end, but then going for it. Like, you need 2-3 yards. Natty did that a few times, and ultimately
It paid off.
it paid
paid
off.
off.
Like, that could have been his demise. That's exactly what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I'm like, this is your demise if this doesn't work.
Yeah, but like you
But-
get that first down, you get closer to field goal, you make it a 10-3 game.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, I think that's the
10-7.
thing. It's like when you're in the middle of the year and you're faced with those same particular situations. I know Indiana didn't really have as many of those opportunities as Miami did throughout the year, but it's like, you know, at that point, you really have to trust your play calling and trust your players. And it's like, I don't want to say Cristobal didn't, because he definitely made a few fourth down conversions when they needed it, and you know, that 3rd and 15 late in the game when they needed it. But you're right. It's kind of like, you know you're 2 scores down and you need a little bit of momentum going into halftime. And
Right.
I mean,
That's
it
why
could
they
have
went
gone either
for
way.
it.
Like 3 points at that point. I mean, I understand why you do want to kick it, but at the same time, it's like, you know, Indiana's about to get the ball. If you put 0 points up, like you're looking at 17-0 real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole swing
I
right
agree with
there.
running the clock out and calling a timeout with 40 seconds left. That way, just to minimize the time left on the clock, and ultimately you can kick a closer field goal. It's just,
Yeah.
it's in that range where, like, I don't trust a college kicker unless you have one of them dudes.
Yeah,
The Ole
yeah,
Miss
unless you
kicker.
have goggles. Yeah,
Ole Miss kicker
Anyone.
goggles, Aguayo back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. I just think I think Miami just shot themselves in the foot, kind of like they did all regular season in that first half.
Yeah.
Now, I do think they made, obviously it ended up being a close game, but I do think they made the proper adjustments at halftime. They just couldn't capitalize, and even though the defense played phenomenal, they just couldn't get that ultimately
Yeah.
the one stop they needed. But
And I attribute that to coaching too. Like, we couldn't
Yeah.
get off the field. Like, we got off the field, 3rd down, they incomplete pass, penalty. That happened how many times? And-
at least 3
Yeah,
for
4.
sure. Yeah,
And like, I think we ended up giving up some points in most of those drives. So like, you get off the field there, like,
yeah,
I
it's a
guess
drive stop. It stops it.
Yeah.
I mean, every single one of those they would have punted,
exactly.
especially the one coming out of the into the second half. I don't remember if it was either the first series or the second series, but they ran the ball in like 3rd and 16 or something, and then there was a penalty for the automatic first down.
Yeah. It was a coaching masterclass by Signetti. Like, that, he just,
Mhm.
he had some balls in that game, especially that 4th down, going for it with a Mendoza
Yeah.
where he helicoptered into the end zone.
That was huge. I was.
That was.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. That flipped the game completely at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Like, I think if you take both rosters and you put Signetti on Miami and Cristobal on any, I think Miami wins.
Yeah,
Like,
the same thing happens like with the
Yeah.
coaching. Like, yeah, it's the same outcome with the coaches. Yeah,
it's,
I agree.
and then one of the drives in like the first half, there's 3 straight passes. Like, come on now. We have been a run first team all year.
Well, you know what I kind of think too? It's like Miami was in a situation where they didn't. I mean, not saying that they couldn't have gotten to where they were, but it's kind of like, I would be really scared of Miami moving forward. That's kind of how I see it, because it's like, when you see Signetti, you see what he's done at every other school he was in the past, the confidence level of what's possible is so much more likely than what Mario Cristobal has put together. And now that, hey, you're in your, what is it, his 4th year, and you make it to the national championship game on what feels like chance in a way, it's like, now every Miami fan and every Miami recruit is like, hey, we can actually win a Natty. It's not theoretical.
Yeah. We're playing with house money, really. Like,
Yeah,
Literally.
exactly.
Yeah, literally moving forward as Miami gets to keep all the money they've made in the playoffs. I totally agree with your point, though, JD. Signetti, the Indiana, rather, was a quick turnaround, right? We're talking about 2 years. Miami's
Nuts.
taking the long route. This is 4, really 4 true years into this, and they're having the recruits come to the school versus
Well, they got
Indiana.
the money too.
Right, but Indiana's kind of just in the portal playing it, the modern day like they should. But then you
find the
have
diamonds in the rough.
yeah, I mean, Miami's got the freshmen out there. And I want to talk about the players real quickly, starting with Miami. I mean, Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher both, but Malachi Tony especially. deserves all the flowers he can get. He
He's
deserves
the best player in the country, dude. Like,
I think we saw flashes of it leading up to this game, but I th- I I think it's safe to say this game was his true like breakout game.
yeah,
He
it's like
had
the
the
first
first game
one
of
where
the
everybody's
season.
watching.
Yeah, like he had the first game of the season where he's 17 and he had a good game. And then, he's produced throughout the season, but he had 10 receptions, 122 yards just receiving. I mean, every time he touched the ball, it felt like he was getting a first down or
Yeah.
he took it for a little bit further. I think he played lights out. Same thing with Mark Fletcher. Like, to your point, coming out the second half, you're down, but brother, just give him the ball. He's getting you 4, 5, 6 yards a carry. I mean,
That was the other
easily.
thing. He, like, the first couple drives, after the first drive, he wasn't on the field for, like, the next 2 drives for some reason.
Yeah,
Like, why does that happen?
it makes no sense. And I think JD, you had brought it up in our group chat. Like, just let him pound the ball up the middle. Just give it to Fletcher. Let him run between the tackles, and he's getting us yards. And instead, I feel like they made the adjustments at halftime, and they did capitalize on it, but they didn't lean into what got him there. They didn't lean into what was working completely.
Well, my only thought is like I feel like Miami could have been trying to set something up for later in the game when they made those adjustments. Because if me as a consumer, I'm like, oh, just pound the ball, keep doing that. And it's like obviously the coaches saw something that they really wanted to push and try. I just think, to be honest, it just kind of failed.
Yeah. I think Indiana's
That's kind of how
defense.
it feels.
I feel like Indiana's defense deserves more credit than what we've
Yeah.
given them all
The other
season.
thing that I feel like I noticed with Indiana, like when they did have the ball, those backs and those wide receivers didn't go down like after their first and second hit. It's like,
Right.
That's
wow.
what CJ's favorite running back.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can say the same thing about a lot of Miami's players too, especially Tony, but it's like I felt like collectively as a whole, I was like, dang, these Indiana guys just like they get an extra 2 to 6 yards
Yeah.
after they get touched the first time, and that just adds up, over the course of, a series.
They
And
got
that
like
kinda
at least 1 yard every run, it seemed like. Whereas Miami
yeah,
got
like
stuck at the line a few times.
like, a lot of chunk plays in this game, and it's like, and you saw it with the playmakers on the field, and I'm actually glad Carson Beck didn't have a Carson Beck game, but
Yeah. I think, especially on the Indiana side, Raymond, you had hit on it. The running backs, both of them, this time around, they were really good. Mr. Black, the black guy, right? He had 17 carries for 79 yards, and the Himby guy, had 19 carries for 60 yards. So, I mean, together they're doing exactly what Fletcher's doing as a whole. I think that says more probably about Fletcher than the two running backs at Indiana. But the fact that they know they had the two-headed monster that they can equally produce is incredible. And then, not to mention the chunk plays, the Becker kid, the Becker guy, dude, Mendoza's just throwing it up and he's catching them back shoulder. He's catching it basically off the ground. He's jumping up and mossing people at like 15 yards to secure the game. He only had 4 catches for 65 yards, but I feel like every
they're all
4
the
of
most
those,
important catches.
All
Yeah, I feel
back
like
shoulder throws.
I feel like all 4 of them came at clutch time. And then
Yeah.
the Omar Cooper guy that Indiana has is stellar. 5 catches, 71 yards, an average of 14 yards a catch. Like, I just feel like you can't stop it. And I didn't feel like Mendoza did anything special this game. I feel like the Miami defense
He had a bad
really,
game in his eyes.
for his standard, I feel like the Miami defense did really good
Yeah,
at
they rattled
making
him.
sure he didn't do what Mendoza usually does. He just happened to have the one play that really changed the momentum of the game completely.
And I know McShay was talking about it earlier. I think Indiana used Miami's aggressiveness against them. It was
It
like,
did seem that way. They knew
like-
the aggressiveness was coming.
yeah, it was like 3rd and 12.
Yep.
Bain jumps off sides, gives them like what, 5? It's a 5-yard penalty, right?
Yeah,
So
first
then
down.
Bain wants to make up for that, and Bain, like him and Mesidor, just sitting there itching. He runs the ball just right past everybody whenever they're trying to blow around the edge, and like it was just genius play calling, to be honest.
They were they were overcompensating for the mistakes that they had made.
Right.
I thought that defense played a really good game. Bain ended up having a sack, but he needed 2.
I think we got to him
3.
like 5 times.
He needed a forced fumble. They Mesidor had 2 sacks. So I mean, the defense did what you would hope. They just didn't produce a turnover like you wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Job.
The Miami defense had that one play on Mendoza where I don't know who it was, but he got to the ball and he should have stripped it. I don't know how Mendoza held onto that ball.
It's that chalk.
It's the chalk. Yeah. He's cheating.
I didn't know that was allowed.
Yeah, he's definitely cheating, but it looked like he almost lost it, but he obviously didn't.
I don't know how he didn't. That was a big old boy coming after him.
Yeah, but Mendoza's strength it's unreal. It's unbelievable. It's nuts. I thought Indiana, obviously they played enough to win the game, but Mendoza himself, I thought had a lackluster game. And then we go to the end of the game, the ending. It's set up for Carson Beck. It's set up for Miami to win the game. And then what happens, Raymond?
He underthrows the ball, but the receiver said it was all his fault. So I don't. It's the same thing as the Chicago game. Like, who knows? Nobody will ever.
Nobody will ever know.
Carson Beck say?
I didn't see Carson Beck's. I think he's been in hiding.
Yeah, I didn't see him do any kind of.
Oh, he didn't do any press conference?
He may have, but I didn't see it.
I turned it off and went to bed. But
I did see Mark Fletcher punch a guy.
To me, I don't think Mark's like that. Like he's on the field congratulating Mendoza and stuff. So to me, I think that guy had to said something ridiculous.
I don't understand the timeline of it happened because I see the video of him being the last one on the field congratulating Mendoza, and then there's a video that surfaces right after of him punching someone.
I don't know the timeline either. But the Miami athletic director came out and said apparently that guy had said something about Fletcher's dad, who's obviously passed away. So not condoning it, but I mean,
that's a line you don't cross.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah. I mean, that's clearly, and if you know of who Fletcher is, which obviously this guy, assuming he does, not to cross lines. Like you shouldn't be talking about that period, but that's clearly a boundary you don't cross.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? It's all hearsay. A complicated legacy for sure with Carson Beck. It was just his 6th game that he's lost in his college career, but 4 of them was on the final offensive play with Beck throwing an interception and a chance to win the game.
So
sucks, 4 out of 6 of his games that he's lost puts the blame on his shoulders because he's the quarterback.
I think he was trying to go for the kill shot, honestly. I think, and
100%.
he had it. He had it if it was, the route ran the way it was, if you put it on the pylon, I think he has it.
I think he has it too. In every replay that I've seen, it was there.
It's basically the Tua thrown overtime against Georgia.
Yep, that's exactly the play. I just
also like there was too much time left at that time to me. Like
because they were like 40, 30 something.
Yeah,
I mean, there was
they were
plenty
just
going
to drive down the field and kick a field goal. Like, let's be honest.
I think Beck's solid. I don't agree with the play call if whoever that was the first read, because they hadn't tested it downfield all game that worked.
Yeah,
so I don't know
downfield shot all game. So
so I don't know if I necessarily hindsight's 20/20, of course, but in the moment, he's open and he had him, but I don't agree with the play call because it hadn't worked. You hadn't tried it all game, and then to Carson Beck's defense, I don't know if you have the confidence to make the throw because you hadn't done it all game. So obviously, him being the quarterback and throwing the pick, we're always going to blame the quarterback, but I don't necessarily think it was the quarterback's fault. I think it was more the play calling.
I think it is what it is. We wouldn't be in this position without Beck. So
100%. I mean,
who we would have started? Emory Jones, Williams. I can't even know. I don't know his name.
No
Not
idea.
Emory Jones.
I literally couldn't tell you. It could be JD Koff for all I know.
It's Emory stuff.
I literally couldn't tell you. The
guy who's transferring?
To probably ECU, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is Miami wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs, right? They got in, they made the run, they're at the home. the home team, and then they got beat by the storytelling team.
Yeah. They were beat
I
by 6 points when everybody says they're going to be beat by, what, 30?
Yeah, I mean, the spread was 7.5.
That's about right.
So, I
It's just a
mean,
little bit different in the game versus looking at it on paper.
and I think you can't be mad at the way that it is, that the outcome as the Miami fan, because one, you probably didn't expect it to make it that far anyway. But two, I mean, it paid off for the season. You paid Carson Beck $4 million. He led you to the Natty. You know, obviously you play to win the game, but as JD had mentioned earlier, moving forward, I think it's probably a bigger win for Miami than it was for Indiana, because Indiana was already on that upswing, especially since last year coming into this year, and now Miami gets that upward momentum.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC gave us all the money from the playoffs, which in turn we're trying to use to go get the quarterback from Duke. Don't know how that's going to work out, but I mean, it's kind of like 3D chess in a way. Like, it's free money and go get the quarterback, no matter how much it costs.
Yeah, because money isn't the issue; it's free money, it's house money.
Yeah, and if we can get him, I think he end up being better than Carson Beck, kind of on the Cam Ward tier. But we'll see how that shakes out. He's getting sued by Duke right now, so who knows if we'll actually get him.
Oh, is this the kid who?
Darian Mensah?
Yeah, I remember seeing the story about him, how they're suing him for the NIL money that they gave him. They want it
Yeah.
back.
Because Duke actually owns his like exclusive rights or something like that. It's weird stuff with the NIL.
NIL is getting weird.
It is. They need rules and regulations against it, like the pros, but in due time.
All in due time. Before we hop into that section of this podcast, I want to double down on what I said last week. Now that Indiana has won, I think they're the best team in college football history. I think they're better than the 2019 LSU team.
Ooh. So when you say that, are you saying like line those two teams up and play them?
No.
So you're saying the best story?
The best story.
Okay.
No,
100%.
talent. Yeah, obviously talent doesn't match, right? Like any other college football champion, especially in the last 10 years, blow this Indiana team out of the water. The Georgia, the Ohio State, the Alabama, the LSU, even the Clemson teams, they blow this Indiana team out the water. The story, they're undefeated. It's a bunch of nobodies. The Mendoza said he was a 2-star recruit trying to walk on at Miami, and Miami didn't even want him to walk on. And then he comes into the hometown, in his hometown, and beat him. I think the story is unbelievable.
It's a
talent
story
when I
you
say that.
couldn't.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with this particular team, and it's
Yeah.
like, in that aspect, I agree with you. I definitely do not think they're more talented than that 2019 LSU team, but when you put everything together and you're telling that story, it's a story that it's literally will probably never happen in the history of college football.
Yeah.
That's
It was
how
lightning
this
in a
story
bottle.
feels. Yeah,
Lightning
it
in a
was.
bottle. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And
it's
you
honestly,
felt that go.
yeah.
I think even like intangibles aside, when you start to line everything up, it just feels like it was fate's. It was their fate to win. That's how it felt the whole time. And I wouldn't have been surprised if Miami won, but it's like I don't think anybody's surprised Indiana won.
Right.
Yeah. But like, it's honestly, I know we made the championship. It was a weak year for college football, I feel like. Like any other year,
Maybe.
Mendoza's maybe a third in the Heisman voting. Like, in my opinion,
I don't think so.
because
Maybe.
if
I don't know. We're still.
You're telling me if
sure.
Caleb Williams was in that class, he would have beaten him?
If you compare the seasons, yeah, like
0%. There's no way. Caleb Williams he was dog water the year he won.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. We
He
say
won by
that we're still
default.
downplaying Mendoza. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I will
he's
I will
done
stand
phenomenal all year.
on the same stance that I had a few weeks ago whenever Mendoza did win, and the only reason his stats look the way that they look is because of the lost time in the games.
Mm-hmm.
An average of 3 possessions per game. What's that
That's
times
crazy.
15?
Yeah.
That's 45 possessions. That's 45 potential touchdowns that you take away from a quarterback.
Yeah, because he
I
doesn't have
mean,
to play.
But it's just he doesn't. And maybe I'm
Uh,
being a hater. I don't know.
You are.
He
He
doesn't pass
doesn't
the eye
seem.
test.
I
well,
know.
this is
I
the
know.
thing.
Mhm.
Maybe throw an interception, but it's like the way he won the game was so atypical of what he's done all year. It didn't feel like he was, say, quote unquote, deserving of that Heisman Trophy, but he did put the team on his back and he did what he needed to do, made, fewer mistakes than his competition on that night. And all they were was, 1-0 at the end of the day.
Just again, maybe I'm just being a hater, but like he doesn't pass the eye test. All the passes yesterday, it was just either back shoulders or tunnel screens. It's like
Yeah.
he doesn't do anything to.
But I kind of think it kind of
Stop.
boils back down to like, I think Miami's defense was so good, they took away every single one of those options. So then when they interviewed Curt Cignetti, he's like, why did you do that? He's like, oh, that's just like, I knew what Miami was going to do. And it was kind of like, we couldn't do what we know we wanted to do. So we kind of went to plan B. And it's just like, okay, well,
Mhm.
is Indiana and Fernando Mendoza's plan B better than, Mario and Carson Beck's plan B? I think so. I think that's
Yeah,
kind
Maybe
of
I'm
what it
just
came
thinking
down
of
to.
it. And I think I'm just correlating it to the number 1 overall pick.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're correlating it to that, I would 100% agree with you. It's like, is he going to do what Cam Ward is doing in the NFL? It's so hard to say.
I think
Like-
if you can take Curt Cignetti with him, yeah, sure. But that's not happening.
Right. No shot,
Like,
especially now.
I
Yeah,
think his
insane.
season was
Yeah.
75% coaching, and then the rest of it was him. Like,
I mean, essentially, it's the same thing as that Joe Burrow year, right? Like you transfer in, Joe transfers in, you pair him with the head
Justin
coach.
Jefferson.
I mean, you pair him with the head coach. The coach knows how to game plan around the quarterback, and they go on the run. Not the same. The talent's way better. I understand.
No. Just because of I don't know if you listen to I'm sure you did the Ogeron podcast with Bustle
Yeah.
and Voice. He said, I just let Joe go out there and call whatever play he want to. I trust Joe.
I understand, but I trust Cignetti to make that call over Coach O. But it's the same concept, right? Like but you can't compare this draft class to last year's or next year's, right? Like if Fernando were to stay, he's just on name value alone, he's not the number 1 pick.
He might be like the 5th pick.
But that's why he's in this draft class, and that's why he's gonna be the number 1
It's
pick.
like the perfect storm, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
Well, I guess what you're saying, because Coach O, like, Mendoza has the talent at coach versus Joe Burrow had like all the talent on the roster.
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Like
exactly
Joe Burrow
right.
had the best of both worlds. So then it's like, well, what if you gave Fernando Mendoza, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase? Does he put up Joe Burrow-esque numbers?
Probably. They probably end up
There you go.
42-25 like that.
I don't think
LSU
you can
team
look
did.
at Fernando Mendoza and be like, you can't make all the throws.
He can make all the throws.
He
After
can
last
make
night's
all the
game,
throws.
He can make all the throws.
That's my
To your-
point. Is like that's why I think they're just like they're not really comparable, but they eventually will be once he gets to the NFL.
See,
And
I looked
and
at
I
the
hear-
game though, and I'm like, I don't know if he can make all the throws because all I seen was back shoulders and tunnel screens.
I hear
But
you,
my
but I
point
think
is
that's the
he
game
made the
plan
throws
that's
when
Cignetti.
he needed to make the throws. So in
Yeah.
my opinion, it's like you can make all the throws because those are the moments that actually matter. It's not like it's the NFL Combine and you can make all the throws. I mean, hell, Anthony Richardson can make all the throws, literally.
Literally.
And look at that guy.
Yeah, look at that guy. I think to that though is I think Cincinnati and them, they had the perfect game plan. They knew what Miami's defense was gonna do. We're saying the bubble screens in the back shoulders because they knew how aggressive the defense was gonna play. So why not just do a little bubble screen for 3 yards and then let the receiver go get the rest
Mhm.
and take that pressure off of Fernando versus maybe putting all the pressure on Carson Beck towards the end of the game. You know, like if you can alleviate that pressure for the quarterback, no sense of putting him in any kind of dangerous situation. But when
Mhm.
the time when he needed to in the fourth quarter, he hit that back shoulder throw.
Yeah,
He
So,
hit all the throws.
I do think Mendoza's a good, maybe great college football player, quarterback. I don't think it's going to translate. I think he's going to get exposed at the NFL level, and it's going to get ugly, especially on the Raiders.
Yeah, unfortunately, to that point, he's gonna go to the Raiders, and there's just no hope.
Unless he gets a solid head coach. It's obviously not decided yet, but
Right? Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he's got to have either a head coach or an offensive coordinator that will know how to work Mendoza.
because
But
any NFL defense is 10 times better than a Miami defense last night.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't look at Fernando like,
Yeah, he's not
it
Andrew
feels
Luck, he's not
like
Burrow, Cam Newton,
Arch.
yeah.
Arch.
Didn't he have what was his season like when he was at UCLA?
the Cal?
Yeah, or Cal, yeah.
I know Miami beat him.
Probably trash.
Because
let's
that
see,
my
Curtis Rourke.
yeah, whoever it was. No,
whoever
nobody,
that guy is.
Whoever that guy is. But it's like that's kind of
Fernando
what I
threw
think.
for-
Go ahead.
He threw for 3,000 yards at Cal last year. He had 16 touchdowns to 6 interceptions versus this year 41 touchdowns to 6 interceptions with 3,500 passing yards. So
Yeah.
I mean, this team was definitely way better for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay, I think that's kind of like the coaching plus talent equals more production. So, and I think you have to say the same thing about what could be in the NFL, and you have to say the same thing about every other quarterback in the NFL, unless there's some sort of generational talent like a Cam Ward, where it's like you have ass coaching, but you're that much of a freak athlete, and it's like Bo Nix could legitimately be dog water if he doesn't have Sean Payton. Drake May
100%.
could and should be dog water. It's like all these. It's like it's kind of the same thing for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very, very, very valid point. I mean, we'll see. Where they all end up, because it's where you end up at, right? Like
We'll even
all
take
QBs go to die in the Jets. It doesn't matter
Kyler
who
Murray,
it is.
for example. Like that guy was a stud, and then he's nobody.
And then he's fallen off. But like Sam Darnold, example.
Yeah. There you go.
He's drafted to the Jets. He had I would say he had a good college career. He gets drafted, terrible. Then he had another bump in the road. Then he ends up in Minnesota. Great. Now he's in Seattle. Great. So, I think sometimes, but then the opposite, right? You have Josh Rosen. People thought he was generational. And then he sucks in the NFL. And then he gets another chance. And then he still
Josh
sucks.
Allen, too. Like, his first couple of years, awful. I know we just debated him earlier.
Right.
But
Rough.
First couple of years were, like, he was probably one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, he went to Wyoming,
Yeah.
Like, this was before the portal and the transfer time. But
I actually
for
went
a
back
reason.
and watched. It was like Wyoming versus Utah. It was like two quarterbacks going at it. Brother, that is the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life is Josh Allen at Wyoming. You just go back and watch some of the clips sometime.
He looked horrible. His throwing motion was horrible.
Yeah.
He'd be missing people by 15 yards.
I mean, it's the development or the lack thereof by the organization. So, I mean, I think all QBs go to die in Vegas, in New York.
I guess he's the perfect quarterback for Vegas. He's not going to get distracted by any of the strip clubs or drugs.
Yeah, he's not driving 200 miles an hour, so
yeah,
not yet anyway. Stay tuned for a couple of years and some concussions and some sacks, but we'll see. What do we think of Carson Beck? So obviously he's a super senior. He's like 28. He's got 40 college football games under his belt. The experts and the
Stetson
pros
Bennett 2.0.
Yeah, the pros are talking about they want more quarterbacks with experience. Is he Stetson Bennett or is he a Brock Purdy?
So he's got your prototypical size. He's athletic enough. It's just all mental.
It is all mental.
I think he thinks he's a lot better than he is.
Yeah.
So if he could get that down, I mean, he's 4th, 5th round max drafted.
Even after last night's debacle, you think he's that high?
Yeah, I think
it's easy.
It was one bad pass.
Because you have to take his body of work when you're getting drafted.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's got the size, he's got that athletic ability. He really should have used his feet more last night, I thought. But he didn't.
Yeah.
So he'll get drafted on that alone. I mean, we've seen Paxton Lynch go first round a few years ago out of Memphis.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we'll talk about the draft as it gets closer here in April, but I wasn't sure where we put him on the totem pole as far as what we expect.
I don't want him.
I mean, I
don't
could see
expect him to
him.
do anything.
I mean, I could see him being a forever backup QB, right?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
a
Matt
solid number
Castle
2.
made the league and never even had a start in college. So
That's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, somebody's gonna take him late just to the what if side, the upside factor to see if he can develop.
DJ Ukulele's in the play in the
That's
made the
fair.
NFL.
That's
It's
we know how
hard to
JD feels
believe.
about him. Let's move on. Unfortunately, Raymond, for you, this will be the last time for this year. You'll get to sulk in sadness. Time to
Yeah.
flip the page.
It's fine. I'm handling it better than I thought I
Congrats
would.
and sorry at the same
Yep.
time.
Yep, congrats and sorry. We'll turn the page. Let's start fresh and talk about next year. Transfer portal's eventually closed, but we had one news today. Alberto Mendoza has transferred from Indiana to Georgia Tech. I don't think I have any thoughts on this. JD, give me your opinions.
Well, my thought was someone must have a deal done for him
Prior
to enter
to.
the portal.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
when your brother wins a Heisman, it's like I think of Tua, like when his brother went to Maryland. It's the same situation. It's like obviously someone had his number, someone knew exactly what they wanted. They liked what they saw in that short sample size in the college football playoff game. But I mean, who is he linked to?
I couldn't tell you. All I saw was the report he had entered the transfer portal and then went to Georgia Tech. So I don't know how it came about. It came out of nowhere for me.
He's
Go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say it was like confirmed he's going to be in the transfer portal a couple weeks ago. It's just he waited because they already got Josh Hoover in the transfer portal. Indiana did, so like he didn't have a starting job.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I didn't even know Indiana had gotten.
Yeah, they got him like 2-3 weeks ago. Like when it opened
they
up.
did.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But and then Georgia Tech lost their quarterback, right, to Florida. The Georgia Tech.
Who?
Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah, Georgia Tech lost their quarterback to Florida.
Yeah, their backup quarterback.
Their backup, who was
Yeah.
going to be the starting quarterback. Yeah, he ended up transferring to Florida. He's supposed to be the guy, allegedly.
Sure.
But
So
I mean, there are a lot
Alberto's just going in and taking that spot on the bench and hoping to develop.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, well, maybe. I don't know who they signed, but or I don't know who Georgia Tech's OC is.
Again, I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
I would say
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's irrelevant, but we were saying that about Indiana 2 years ago. So
Yeah, I thought that was just something to keep an eye on because I don't.
The one thing I love is all of your major Power 4 teams will never go away. So the idea of Georgia Tech making a run like that, or I don't want to say a Group of 5 school making a run like that, but like you could have 10.
Sure.
It's like you get the right boosters, and that's when I think it becomes very fun when you're not trying to, wrap your head around what NIL is.
It'll be fun. I know CD don't like it because it obviously has a negative effect against Alabama, but I like this new era.
Yeah. I think it's a net positive. The only people that are crying and griping and complaining are the older generation who think that these college athletes play for nostalgia and they play for the quote unquote love of the game. I think that's the biggest load of bullcrap that you could be feeding people, because if all the players are coming out and saying like we were already getting paid, that was the reason that I ended up going to Alabama or going to Auburn or going wherever, it's like I don't know why we're trying to feed ourselves that these players love the game more than they love the money. It's like it's a yes and kind of situation. It's like, yeah, your
especially
loyalty
with the
can
money
be
they're
bought.
making now, right?
Yeah.
Like back then when it was under the table, it was Reggie Bush's mom got a house and an Escalade. Now we're talking about millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. It's just the boomers being boomers.
And it'll hit lightning in a bottle too. Another time. Just I got a question for who's the best college football player? I'm going somewhere with this. Who's the best college football player of all time?
Reggie Bush.
Tim Tebow.
I knew you were gonna say Tebow.
Yeah, of course he did.
Cam
Like single
Newton.
season.
Cam Newton.
Probably Cam Newton
That's
or
the
Joe
answer.
Burrow.
Yeah,
Cam Newton's the answer.
my 1B was Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, yeah. But
Cam
Cam
Newton,
Newton, nobody got
yeah.
drafted on that team. Nobody got drafted on that team.
The
Dang.
year he
Are you
had
serious?
at Auburn was
Yes.
an unbelievable
Nobody got
year.
drafted on that team?
Nobody got drafted on that
Okay,
Auburn team.
wow, I didn't know that.
So the reason why I asked that is because with his NIL, what happens if Oregon State gets a Cam Newton?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Florida actually paid Cam Newton.
Yeah, literally.
If he didn't sell that laptop.
Yep, if you just didn't
That
steal
would
the
have been
laptop.
so irrelevant.
Exactly.
That would have fit
It
right
would've
into
been-
the rest of the
Nobody
team.
anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With how many arrests they made from that team, it would have
Did you guys see that report?
Mm-mm.
What a report just recently came out. Another Florida guy got arrested from that team, and it's like 1 in every 3 players on that team have gotten arrested.
That's
Spent time in the
crazy.
slammer.
On it.
And they had Jesus himself on the team.
That documentary on Netflix made me mad because they didn't feature Tebow once.
He opted out. Why would he?
He opted out.
I
Yeah,
mean,
why
sure.
would he?
That does nothing
Probably because they had to tell him the direction of the story, and he's like, "I'm good."
Yeah, that does nothing but tarnish his
Tell that
reputation.
story without Tebow, though.
I think they left a lot of
shot.
things out of that documentary
Yeah.
that pissed everybody off, anyways.
Yeah, no shot.
But anyway, Utah State,
Yeah,
James Madison, like
right. Oklahoma State.
If one of those people hit on a Cam Newton,
Yeah,
they won a Natty. Like it's the same thing
You're
as this
right.
year.
Yeah, and there's nobody. I mean, money can't stop that, right? If you find the kid with the right talent,
Right.
Who's
Now, will
desperate
we ever
enough to
see
make
Cam
it.
Newton again? Who knows? Maybe in a few years, but
Unfortunately, I
Well-
think at this point that Cam Newton's already paid and at a big school and going to continue to get paid and wait his turn.
Well, the other thing too with NIL and its current landscape, it's so easy to get out of your contract. And
Yeah, there's no
back in the
repercussions.
day, there were so many repercussions to get out of your contract. It became like you became so tied to the school. And now it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if I would say it'll probably take 2 to 3 years before they can get it locked down. But once the NCAA potentially gets things in a way to where you are locked into a contract, then we will start repeating the cycle of nostalgia and playing for your school and the university actually meaning something, even though they're not going to be going as a student athlete.
I think Nick Saban had said it the best last night. He said that there's only one reason why the kids go play up north and the north is so dominant now
Oh, yeah.
is because these schools up north pay these kids millions and millions of dollars.
Yep.
So the Big 10, the Big 12, and everybody in between are going to stay relevant because they have all the money. Which brings me to my next topic I want to talk about with this portal and all of the kids. Listen, gentlemen, Alabama sucks. I'm the first one to admit it. We're piss poor. We can't afford anybody in the portal. We've signed no big names. I'm a little nervous going into next season.
it's dark days.
Did you guys
man.
backload your roster?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the discrepancy
So that's
from when
the only
Saban took over and what was still left and what DeBoer has done. So
I think so. That's
I
the
have no
biggest
idea.
difference in like a team being able to, quote unquote, afford the players and not afford the players. Because if you front load the roster and you pay them essentially all their guaranteed money by the month of July, it'll end up paying off. And if you can, because a lot of that kind of goes back to rev share. So like if you have a team that can push the boundaries of getting on TV, making a postseason push, and getting that national coverage, then you can front load your roster, get everything you want, and then pay them. But it's a huge gamble because you go into the red really, really, really fast if you backload your roster and say, hey, we're just gonna pay you at the end of the day afterwards. But it's like at the end of the day, you turn it, you're in this situation on the flip side of the year to say, well, now we've got to pay all of our players that we guaranteed at the end of the year what we said they were going to pay, and we're trying to get these guys in the portal to come in. So if you don't front load your rosters, you are going to be piss poor at the end of the day because you tried to do the quote unquote right thing and pay them, for their play. So you don't win. It's you gamble and you win, or you gamble and you really lose.
Yeah, I think
So
we
that's why you don't
gambled and
see
really lost. if I had to take a guess, because I don't know, where all the money went. As I'm stuck in the boomer age and don't keep up with it like I should. Obviously, with this podcast, it's going to help, and I'm going to keep up with it moving forward. But as of these last 2 years, all I know is people have gone, and not a lot of people have joined us. So I know we got a couple of big names, but I'm a little nervous going into this year.
Say the bright side is Keelan Russell.
Yes, that's who I was going to bring up.
I liked what I seen with him against Indiana, that couple snaps.
There are reports that he may not be the starting quarterback, that the redshirt freshman, he was a 5-star recruit, is supposed to be better.
You're talking about Austin Mack?
Yeah, he's supposed to be better. We'll see. I really liked what I seen in the 3 plays in the playoff game that I saw, but
he seems composed.
He seems
what
composed.
I was looking at.
And he's been
getting thrown in there.
And he's been waiting, and he didn't enter the portal and transfer, which makes me hopeful that we'll at least have a somewhat competent quarterback moving forward, whoever it is.
Ryan Williams can get back on track. Then
I'm just still nervous about the run game. Yeah, Ryan Williams needs to go to Texas.
He needs to go to practice.
He needs to go to practice. He needs to catch the
quit
ball.
His podcast.
Yeah, literally. I just, I'm a little nervous about Alabama. We'll see moving forward as we get into spring football and the team working together. But as we sit now, technically in the off season with no big name portal people, we'll see. I'm a little nerve wracking.
It's just
man.
It's a recipe to have DeBoer on the hot seat.
Yeah,
because it's
I don't know if that makes you feel good about a player coming in, wanting to come to Alabama because your coach may get fired. Then you re-dip, which is fine these days, but it's like, do you go to, an Indiana or an Ohio State or an LSU and Ole Miss or, a USC?
Well, the only way if you transfer out.
Correct.
It's like the crazy part is like, which is really weird to say, but it's like when I see all these other transfers commit to other schools that were at the University of Florida. We landed.
Yeah.
How does Florida's name hold weight to other people? So then when I think about Alabama, I'm like, okay, well, Alabama's head and shoulders above the University of Florida when it comes to transferring out. So it's like, from a player's point of view, it's like, hey, it's a 1-year deal anyways. If you give me $1 million and I sit on the bench, like, I'll go to the next place and get $2 million.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a very fair point. I didn't think of it like that. And then not only that, but then the name coming from Alabama means something to a bigger school, or even
100%. Especially if you're transferring down or to like a group of 5.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, then you're an instant starter just because you were enrolled in Alabama, and you didn't even necessarily really have to contribute too much.
Yeah.
Raymond, we had talked about earlier the portal money with Miami. Have you guys signed anyone that is name-worthy? Obviously, you still have people coming back that's going to have the roster just loaded.
Yeah, offense is pretty much coming back minus Beck and like a couple receivers. But we're replacing those in the portal. We still got Tony and Fletcher. So offense really shouldn't miss a beat next year. If anything, get better if we can secure Darian Mensah. But we'll see how that shakes out in a few days.
Yeah, that's the Duke quarterback.
Yeah.
So with them, this is crazy. The school is suing the player because they technically have the rights to the player with the NIL. So does that essentially, it locks him into the school, but then he can opt out of playing though, right? Like,
I think the judge already ruled on it. They can't block him from entering the portal. So at this point, I think it's about just getting the money back, which to me, if you're voiding your contract, just give the money back and get the money from Miami.
Well, I'm sure he's probably already spent the money, so he'd have to take the advance from Miami and then.
But that's part of the reason why we're paying him $10 million is because to help buy out the contract. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's just the name of the game now.
Jesus.
Like we just took all the money from the playoff run and just dumped it into a quarterback.
That's
crazy. I know.
$10 million. That's wild.
Well, that's where that's what I was talking about. If you have revenue share, you have the money to do stuff like that.
Right.
And
Yeah, and
but
then
it's like so
yeah,
stupid.
yeah, like you said, it'll change in a few years. We know JD Florida's had a big turnover. Any new names that we haven't talked about in the last few weeks that are coming to Florida?
I think the big name that they were thinking about was the offensive lineman from Colorado, Stetson. He was tied to
Yes, I
Florida
saw that.
before he committed to Colorado. He actually committed to Florida and then he flipped to Colorado. But I think the rumor is he wants like $2 million, and I think there's too much money tied up into other assets on Florida's roster to give him that money. So I know a lot of the fans are like, just pony up and pay the money, but I just think I don't think it's that they don't have the money, but I think they'd rather spend the money in other areas.
Sure,
But that's kind of the biggest news. But as far as like the fan base, most of the fan base is super happy and super supportive of what John Summeralls did. And it feels like we are 5 steps ahead of where Billy Napier ever could have put us, which is kind of hard to fathom because everybody and their brother was like, once Billy was hired, it's like, trust the process. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to do that. And it's like, now we have a coach that's so competent and is being super active with everything. He's got a better relationship with the staff, a better relationship with the front office, and a better relationship with the collective to actually get us what we want. So um, I feel like everybody is super happy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had a lot of wins. It's just like, what's the product we're going to put on the field in the spring game?
right. That'll be the true test for you guys to see,
Yeah.
because it feels like you've made the moves to upgrade the roster, even though you lost Lagway.
Yeah,
We'll
because
see.
technically, like, I think the transfer portal rankings, we weren't very high. But in my opinion, the transfer portal rankings are super skewed because it doesn't account for who you paid to keep. Because if it
Right.
accounted for who you paid to
Correct.
keep,
Then
and we
it's
kept
completely
Jaden
different.
Ball, we kept who else did we keep? We kept Jaden Ball and some other, Dallas VB3 and Dallas Wilson. Like those are, obviously if any team in the country got any of those 3 players, they'd be, top 3, top 5 in the rankings. So the fact that we actually got to keep all 3 of them, and then we basically got a discount on Aaron Philo and this other, I think, 4 or 5-star quarterback plus um keeping Tramel Jones at quarterback. Those are the primary pieces they wanted. Um, so I think we got a steal at specifically quarterback and getting to keep all the primary position players, which was,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
we would have
that
kept,
if he wanted to stay, but
if
that
you
was a
wanted to
Taylor.
say, it's like to be able to say you had DJ, Jaden Ball, VB3, and Dallas Wilson, I don't think you would complain. And we kept Jaden Woods, who was one of the top edge rushers in the transfer portal too. So it's like, at the end of the day, I think we came out better than what our ranking was.
My question to you, are you beating Georgia or no?
I don't know. I mean, because
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah,
what team we have,
of
but
course.
I never would have thought in a million years we would have kept the score as close as we did the last 2 years with the
Of
team
course.
we
Yeah.
had. So it's like, well,
Uh,
if Buster Faulkner's the real deal, I'm going to say yes.
what a
Because we
name.
have a quarterback that already knows the system. So why would I say, oh, well, we don't have any chemistry? I'm like, this guy he was at the stadium, he's already with the guys, in December starting his chemistry. So it's
That's
like you
fair.
got
That goes a
nine,
long
10
way.
months. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You basically have the full year to,
Literally to build the
develop the rapport.
chemistry.
Mhm.
And it's like
Yeah, that is huge.
we're in such a short turnaround time. It's like the fact that the players know that, I wouldn't be surprised if we're competitive on day one
Sure.
because the chemistry within the entire coaching staff is so cohesive, just like Kurt Signetti when he came from JMU. He basically brought his whole staff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what John Summerall did from
that's
Georgia
a valid
Tech.
point. Raymond, before we end here this week, I know we talked about Sorsby probably being the best, transfer portal person this year. Cam Coleman going to Texas. Any big names, maybe some last minute people that we haven't talked about in the last couple of weeks, or any surprises from you overall this year?
Nobody else really. All the people transferring from the championship game are pretty much nobodies.
Yeah. I
Um,
I
Best
think
one's Mensa.
I think the you had brought up a good point about the Cam Newton, and I'm not saying this guy's anywhere near Cam Newton, but I think the Mets maker kid transferring from North Texas from never playing football to Oklahoma State is something to watch out for.
He could be freaking amazing, but he could also be terrible.
Right. Because he was in North Texas, led the whole college football scene in passing yards. But was it just North Texas or was it the kid? So that's probably one to me that stands out the most as like this could potentially be something, but potentially could also be a bust as well.
I'll say I was watching highlights on Keelan Russell. I think he obviously not transfer portal. I think he's got a good chance of being like a Heisman Trophy winner next year if he gets the job.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
We'll see.
if he gets the job. The Justice Hayes from Michigan, running back from Michigan, is transferring to Georgia Tech, so that's pretty interesting. There was
Wow.
another guy here that the transfer the brown guy the brown guy from South Florida is transferring to Auburn to take the
Oh,
place.
Bynum
Yeah,
Brown or
Oh
Bynum
something.
yeah,
Brown.
Bynum
Yeah,
Brown.
I
Yeah,
also think that's
I like that.
I also think that's a good fit for Bynum Brown, the brown guy. Um, it is. I thought he thrived in South Florida. It's just obviously being South Florida, you don't. Who knows? But I think the perfect fit for Auburn, bringing in the new regime, and he follows the coach. So he knows the system, and he's going to have the better recruits around him. We'll see.
Hmm.
They're gonna lose every game but the Iron Bowl, and we'll see if the Iron Bowl is competitive. But I think Bynum Brown, the Brown guy, is an interesting choice um, to land at Auburn because I think the potential for him could be something. I'm not going to talk highly of any Auburn player or the Auburn itself, and I'll leave it at that. But I thought it was an interesting bit for him to land there to follow the coach. I really think he's got the potential to do something. What will he do? I don't know, but stay tuned. We'll see. JD, any last thoughts for you for anybody that may have hit the portal or any surprises from you?
No, none.
Okay. It's almost like I just saw double for a second. That was crazy. Uh, one last thing, we did officially get a Sam Levitt to LSU. I feel like that was
Yeah,
kind of desperation mode. We had kind of touched on it last week. I feel like that's a choice B for LSU. Uh, we'll see. I
100%.
feel like that's not who they really wanted,
Mm-mm.
but they got to win and they needed a big name. And
If
that's
only they could tamper and get it right like Miami.
if they could
Seriously.
only tamper. Well, they tried. They tried to get Trinidad to get the extra eligibility, but I still don't think he's going to get the extra
No,
year
he
of
won't.
eligibility.
I mean, they might if they put it on pause, but depends on the amount
I
of money
don't.
they can make from it.
We'll see. All right. Any last thoughts for our final college football episode of the season? We'll come back and periodically cover anything leading up to the season, starting in spring, any fun stuff. But any shocks or any fun ahas from the season that we can remember?
Good season.
Uh,
Miami will be back next year.
Miami is
yeah,
back.
it was a good season because we fired Billy Napier.
It was a bad season.
Even better season. The Seminoles kept Mike Norvell.
Yeah,
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 heck yeah.
that's true.
I
Yeah,
love it. I love
I
seeing a
think
poverty
so.
university do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest surprise for me is that the big school doesn't always win, right? The big money. So your Ohio State, your Texas Tech, your
Yeah,
Oregon, your
that's a
big
win.
money, yeah, it goes down. So I think that's good for college football. I think I think we were starting to get into a rut where, the Georgia, the Alabama, the Clemson, the Ohio State were just in it too much. So it can be anybody's opportunity moving forward, which is, I think, good for the sport. I think it's good for football in general. Yes, please let us know. Shoot JD a DM and tell him he sucks and that you want to come and debate how much better Florida State is than the Gators.
Please.
We'll have you on. We'll go for hours. Same thing with Auburn. If you think Auburn has a chance this year, if you think Notre Dame's got a chance against Miami this coming up year, Raymond would love to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
All you got to do is comment, like, subscribe, shoot us DMs. You know where to find us. Until then, we'll catch you on the flip side.
See ya.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow us on all socials at Not Advised Podcast. Again, this was Not Advised Podcast, the fantasy football podcast based off of vibes and opinions. So if you stay winning off this nonsense we are spitting, we want to split in.